Deep within the woods, Shannon lived. Her life was one of simplicity and profound connection with nature. Every morning she would wake up to the gentle rustling of leaves and the soft chirping of birds, a natural symphony that marked the beginning of her day. Her cabin was small, built by her own hand. Each log, each nail, each piece of wood was placed with care and intention. It was a labor of love, a testament to her resilience and self-sufficiency. Sunlight dappled by leaves was her only light. The way the light danced through the canopy above created a mosaic of shadows and brightness on the forest floor, a living artwork that changed with the seasons. The forest provided all she needed. It was her pantry, her pharmacy, her sanctuary. The trees whispered ancient secrets and the plants offered their healing properties, berries and roots for food. She knew where to find the sweetest berries and the most nourishing roots. Each meal was a gift from the earth, a reminder of the abundance that surrounded her. Water from a clear, cold stream. The stream was her lifeline, providing fresh, crisp water that flowed from the heart of the mountains. She would often sit by its banks, listening to the soothing sound of water over rocks. The silence was her company, broken only by the sounds of the woods. Shannon was not lonely. The forest was alive with the sounds of life, the rustle of leaves, the call of birds, the distant howl of a wolf. Each sound was a reminder that she was never truly alone. She had lived in the woods for many years. Each year brought new challenges and new joys. She had seen the forest change with the seasons, from the vibrant greens of spring to the golden hues of autumn. The solitude was her comfort. In the quiet moments she found peace and clarity. She would meditate among the trees, feeling the earth beneath her and the sky above, connected to the world in a way that few could understand. The trees were her companions, the animals, her friends. She had learned to read the signs of the forest, to understand the language of the animals. The deer would graze nearby, unafraid, and the birds would sing their songs just for her. She knew their ways, their calls, their secrets. Each creature had its own story, its own place in the tapestry of life. She respected their space, and they, in turn, accepted her as one of their own. Shannon was a part of the forest, as much as any oak or owl. She had become intertwined with the natural world, her spirit as wild and free as the land she called home. The forest was not just a place she lived, it was a part of her very being. Shannon woke with the sun. She greeted the dawn, a symphony of birdsong. The forest floor crunched beneath her feet as she walked. Hers was a life of simple rhythms, the changing seasons, her guide. She talked to the trees, whispered secrets to the wind. The animals knew her scent. They did not fear her. A doe and her fawn ate from her hand. Squirrels chattered from the branches above. Nature was her church, the forest her cathedral. She was its protector, its voice, and it in turn protected her. The people from the nearby village spoke her name with caution. Shannon of the woods, the witch of the woods. They didn't understand her. Her connection to nature, her solitary life. They feared what they didn't know. They whispered stories, tales of her controlling the animals, of her brewing strange potions, of her eyes that glowed in the dark. Shannon heard their whispers on the wind. She didn't care. Their fear was their burden, not hers. She had the forest, and the forest had her. A low growl echoed through the trees. A massive grey wolf emerged from the undergrowth. Its eyes, intelligent and ancient, met Shannon's. This was Fang, the leader of the pack, her friend. A mother bear, followed by two cubs, lumbered into the clearing. They grunted, a greeting. Shannon scratched the mother's head. Her fur was thick and warm. Birds perched on her shoulders, chirping their news. A symphony of the wild, understood only by her. These were her allies, her protectors, and she, theirs. They were bound to the forest and to each other. Section 5. The Lurking Shadow of Greed. One day the peace was shattered. The forest, once a sanctuary of tranquility and life, was suddenly disturbed. The animals, who had known only the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft whispers of the wind, were startled. They sensed an ominous presence, a disruption that was foreign and threatening. The scent of men and machines invaded the forest. It was a scent that spoke of destruction and greed. The forest, which had stood for centuries, was now under siege. The men came with their heavy machinery, their axes gleaming in the dim light. They were driven by a hunger that the forest could not comprehend. The sound of their greed, their axes biting into wood, filled the air. Each swing of the axe was a blow to the heart of the forest. The trees, which had stood tall and proud, were now falling one by one. The sound was deafening, a cacophony of destruction that echoed through the woodland. They came to claim the forest, to cut it down, to take its riches. The ancient trees, which had witnessed the passage of time, were now being uprooted and loaded onto logging trucks. The forest, which had been a haven for countless creatures, was now being stripped of its life and beauty. Shannon felt the forest tremble, felt its pain. She had always been connected to the forest, understanding its rhythms and its secrets. Now she could feel its agony, its desperate plea for help. The leaves trembled under her touch as if sharing their sorrow with her. These men they did not understand. They were blind to the life that thrived in the forest. To them, it was just a resource to be exploited, a means to an end. Their faces were indifferent, their hearts hardened by greed. They did not see the life that pulsed beneath the bark. They only saw profit. The growth rings of the trees, which told stories of resilience and survival, were nothing more than numbers to them. They calculated their profits, oblivious to the destruction they were causing. The air grew thick with the smell of sap and fear. The forest, once vibrant and full of life, was now cloaked in a heavy atmosphere of dread. The sap, which had once flowed freely, was now a symbol of the forest's suffering. The birds flew in panicked circles, the deer scattered. The creatures of the forest, who had once lived in harmony, were now in a state of chaos. They could sense the danger, the impending doom that was closing in on them. The forest was under attack. Its once majestic trees were now lying on the ground, lifeless and broken. The woodland, which had been a symbol of strength and endurance, was now a scene of devastation. The shadow of greed had cast its dark veil over the forest, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Shannon's heart pounded with the forest's fear. She would not let them take it, not without a fight. She closed her eyes. She reached out with her mind. Her call echoed through the trees, a call to arms. The wolves howled, a chilling symphony of defiance. The bears roared, shaking the ground. Birds took flight, their wings beating like 1,000 drums. The forest was alive, angry. This was her army, the forest's fury, and they were ready to defend their home. The men, arrogant in their ignorance, were not prepared. The wolves attacked with a fury born of desperation. The bears, massive and powerful, sent men flying. Birds swooped down, claws and beaks, a whirlwind of defense. The clearing became a battleground, the air thick with the smells of sweat and fear. But the forest fought back, for its life, for its future. And at its heart stood Shannon, unharmed, unyielding, the witch of the woods, the protector. The men, defeated and terrified, fled the clearing, leaving behind their wounded and their machines. The forest, wounded but alive, began to heal. The cries of battle faded, replaced by the soothing sounds of nature. The villagers, witnessing the retreat, whispered her name in awe. The witch of the woods. They had been wrong to fear her. She was not a destroyer. She was a protector. The story of that day spread, a tale whispered around campfires, a legend born of courage and magic. The legend of the Witch of the Woods and the day she defended her domain. Gap 3S. In the heart of the forest, amidst the towering trees and the symphony of nature, Shannon claimed her victory. The Witch Queen, as she had come to be known, sat regally on her forest throne, a seat of moss and branches intertwined with ancient magic. Her eyes, deep and knowing, scanned the horizon, taking in the realm she had sworn to protect. Around her, the animals of the forest gathered in solemn respect. The wolves, her fierce and loyal companions, stood at attention, their eyes reflecting the loyalty and admiration they held for her. The bears, powerful and majestic, bowed their heads in reverence. Birds of all kinds perched on nearby branches, their songs a harmonious tribute to their queen. Even the smallest creatures, the rabbits and squirrels, paused in their daily routines to honor her presence. The air was thick with a sense of accomplishment and unity. The forest, once threatened by the encroaching greed of men, now stood as a testament to the power of nature and the indomitable spirit of its protector. The creatures of the wild, once merely inhabitants, now saw themselves as part of a grand alliance, bound together by the Witch Queen's unwavering resolve. Shannon, feeling the weight of her victory and the responsibility it entailed, raised her hand. The forest responded in kind, a wave of energy rippling through the trees and the creatures alike. It was a silent salute, a gesture of mutual respect and understanding. In that moment, the bond between the Witch Queen and her forest was solidified, an unbreakable connection that would endure through the ages. The forest had a new guardian, one who understood its secrets and spoke its language. And as the sun set, casting a golden hue over the landscape, Shannon knew that this victory was not just hers, but belonged to every living being in the forest. Together they had triumphed. Together they would thrive. Shannon stood among the trees, the ancient sentinels of the forest, their branches whispering secrets of old. She felt a deep connection to this place, a bond that had been forged through trials and tribulations. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, casting a magical glow over the landscape. It was a sight that never failed to take her breath away, a reminder of the beauty that could emerge even after the darkest times. She could still feel the echoes of the battle, the clash of forces that had once threatened to tear this place apart. The memories were vivid, etched into her mind like scars on the landscape. The forest had won, but at a cost. The scars of the conflict were still visible, but so was the resilience of nature. New growth sprouted from the ashes, a testament to the enduring spirit of the wild. She knelt, placing her hand on the ground, feeling the cool, damp earth beneath her fingers. It was a grounding sensation, a reminder of her place in the grand tapestry of life. She felt the pulse of the earth beneath her fingers. The forest was strong. It would heal. She was not alone. The heartbeat of the earth resonated with her own, a silent promise of renewal and hope. The wolves sat around her, panting softly, their eyes reflecting a shared understanding. The bears grazed nearby, their presence a comforting reminder of the interconnectedness of all life in this sanctuary. The birds sang their evening songs, a symphony of nature that filled the air with a sense of peace and continuity. Each note was a thread in the intricate web of life that bound them all together. They were bound to this place, to each other. The bond they shared was more than just a connection. It was a lifeline, a source of strength and solace in a world that could be both beautiful and brutal. And their bond, forged in fire and fury, would last a lifetime. It was an enduring bond, one that would see them through the challenges ahead, a testament to the power of unity and the resilience of the spirit.